Welcome to Pick Central. It is August 13th. It's at Barstool's Daily Gambling Show. We got myself. We have Clemmer. We got Doug, Steve in the back. I think we got Jason Meek in the back. This show presented by Pick Central, as always, presented by DraftKings. Throw another shrimp on the barbie. Get in all the UFC 305 action live from the Land Down Under. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC. The middleweight title is on the line for the main event, but the card is stacked full of rip snorter blokes and Sheila's getting a little.
Throw a shrimp on the barbie.
Yeah, throw a little Australian on there. And I will say, as the UFC guy on the show, it is an unbelievably stacked card. The main card is incredible. Adesanya, DDP. One of my new upcoming guys, Carlos Prates, is fighting the Leech. Steve Urseg, Kai Car-France, awesome. Tai Tuivasa, Bam Bam. Get some shoeys out. He gets a win. Just awesome card. And speaking of stacked, like I said, the card is stacked. If you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5. Get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Like I said, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code PICKCENTRAL, PICKSCENTRAL. It's code PICKCENTRAL for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. UFC 305, it's going to be a ripper of a good time only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
When is that? Is that Saturday?
Yep, Saturday.
Are you excited?
17th.
You must be. You amped up.
Really excited, and it's funny because what is it? Australia is the widest time difference, right? Or close.
Yeah, it's on the other side of the world. Yeah.
But yeah, it's still like normal local times for the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 10 o'clock main card.
It's a weird time there, then, right?
I was thinking. That's why in my head I was like, "Is that?"
I'm terrible with stuff like that. But yeah, it's very.
I almost think maybe it's not because they're so far ahead.
Yeah, I think it is. Like I said, remember that guy Menners we had on to talk cricket? He's in Australia, and trying to line it up with him was odd.
It's like 19 or like 21 or it's something crazy. But regardless, use DraftKings is going to be an awesome, super, super excited. Me, Robbie, Jack Mack will definitely be doing a breakdown of the card, giving all our picks, everything later in the week on Spinning Backfist. So make sure to check that out. But
2:04 a.m. right now.
Okay, so
what time is the card start?
10 p. Or the main card will be at 10 p.m. Eastern. Prelims will start at 7 p.m.
I'm in
Eastern.
New York. It would be noon.
Okay,
there.
so
yeah, it's like a matinee.
But reasonable, going to, for example, they did it for the first time. They did a card in London, not the first time in London, but for the first time they did a card where it started, they did it for U.S. viewing.
Okay.
So
right.
the main card in there for obviously the fans that are there, the fighters started at 2, 3 a.m.
Right.
So the main event literally started their time at 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
This is like I said.
Brutal.
It's gonna be
for them,
it's gonna be Sunday at noon, but it'll be Saturday night at 10 p.m.
For these guys, at least it won't be as bad. They're
right.
just fighting during the day. It's normal. You're just be awake hours.
Yeah.
So not bad. But so we're in that weird period where it's like football is so close, but we're still we're 11 days from week 0. So I guess 18 from week 1. Or I guess there'll be some good Thursday, Friday games too. But we'll get into some NFL and stuff like that. A lot of the college new quarterbacks did well. The one thing we'll start with, because I think it's kind of the most fascinating thing, kind of just a weird thing. I don't know if you guys talked about it all yesterday, is the Hassan Reddick situation.
We didn't really, because a lot of it broke after we came. Obviously it's been going on for a while, but him demanding the trade happened after we were on air yesterday. I'm pretty annoyed about this from a couple different levels. I'm annoyed at Woody Johnson because apparently he's been kind of saying, hey, we don't want these long-term deals to tie us up. I'm looking at it look, we got a 2-year window right now. Stop fucking around and just get this guy signed. Reddick, to his discredit, when he joined the Jets, was like, oh, I'm going to play. I'm a man of my word. I'm all this. And then he immediately, just vanishes. This is, at the end of the day, this is really on Jets management. You don't make a trade for someone that's going through a contract dispute and then not have the contract shit worked out. That's just dumb.
Yeah, listen, this is obviously more light conspiracy theory thing, but it's just kind of a thing in sports where when they make this trade, you almost would have thought there'd be some sort of backdoor type of hey, we're gonna play ball. Agents hey, this is the number we're gonna need to get to. If you don't think you can get close to this, don't trade for him.
There has to be some sort of structure in place, right?
If you think you can even get to a number where hey, it's got to be in this range, or it's not gonna happen. It's not even gonna get close to happening. So I know they didn't trade a ton for him, but obviously like because of this reason, you were gonna have to pay him.
Yeah, but like exactly what you said. Like, how does the agent not have some sort of like structure of the deal in place? Like, hey, look, and the Jets thought for some reason, I don't know why they thought this. Like, hey, we're gonna make this whole year guaranteed. Like, I guess there was a lot of non-guarantees in there, and just like, listen, we'll make this guaranteed. And the Jets thought that would be enough to get him to play. Now, why the Jets thought this, I don't know. Was there a lack of communication with the agent? Obviously, it sounds like there was. The whole thing's a mess. And this is on Reddick, too. Like, you do have a contract, show up to play. But then again, I did say it on yesterday's show, actually, that I always kind of side with the players in these things because the owners are always going to take advantage of the players whenever they can. Especially football players, they have these non-guaranteed deals. Go get what's yours. But the same token, like, man, like, this sucks. Like, the Jets could really be good this year, and this sucks.
It's tough, like, the players... Because obviously, anytime like you see a guy hold out, and I think there's this public narrative of just like, oh, like you're getting paid millions to play football, like blah blah blah, like shut up and just take the money kind of thing. But players in a spot like this, like someone like him, for example, in this situation, not coming to camp or not coming to practice, whatever, is literally the only leverage that he has.
Right.
Like it's the only card he's able to play. Other than that, he's no other. Like there's not. If he just shows up and plays, like there's no real incentive.
Well, I mean, I guess the incentive would be to play devil's advocate here. The incentive would be then you get a contract the next year. You have a good year this year, then you can use that. Either you could get franchised, but you could also then go make more money in the free market.
That's true, but then I feel like what happens too is then they would like, I guess like the devil's advocate is like, but then next year, even if he plays well, they'll say, oh, you're a year older.
Yep.
You're this, like they'll use anything they have against you in their favor for the contract. So I mean.
You're right about the public narrative.
Just weird. I just didn't think it would get this. I guess I'm a little bit surprised that it's gotten this deep, and it feels like they kind of almost have to get something done in the next like week or two at like tops. I mean,
you'd like to.
Then you're getting to the point where it's season's a week and a half away, and he's just not there, and you gave up draft capital for him.
What happened with Chris Jones last year? He signed after
he
week
didn't
1, right?
play the first game,
right? And they lost.
And then he got paid immediately,
right? So I don't know. That's
he's not Chris Jones,
or is this a Le'Veon Bell situation where he doesn't play the whole year?
See that has like never worked.
No, that
sitting out a year didn't work with him. I don't think he sat out the whole year, but Melvin Gordon, like it didn't really work.
Right?
They literally Eckler just got better and was way cheaper.
Jets are kind of handling it good.
You think so?
For how bad they botched it, I think they're handling it good. Being like, we're not going to pay someone because I saw some tweets on Jets Twitter that they're like they have people that have played downs for the Jets that are owed money. Like I forget the big name. It's like I know like someone said Michael Carter. I forget who else is owed. Maybe Reed. But people are owed money, so they're like, we're not just going to pay a guy based off of like, hey, pay me and I'll stick around. So like they have to follow like. So they're just like, we'll find the fucking hell out of you for the next year. We don't give a shit if you don't play this year because then next year you retain the rights if he doesn't play.
Right.
And he owes you a shit ton of money. Like he has no leverage. You guys, what did you guys trade him for? A conditional third-round pick in 2026? That is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there really is. This is like the Jets are like play or don't. Like you're like, and his trade value will go down if he doesn't play this year.
100%.
The team will be worse though. Like Bryce Huff is gone. So we need that edge rusher, and then you make a trade for this guy. Ideally, you're kind of building your roster around him.
For sure. My point is, for how bad the Jets botched not signing the deal, they actually are, I think, doing the right thing now. Not not being like we're just going to pay you because based off word of mouth. Like he hasn't played it down for you guys yet.
Yeah, but no one coming into a team does. I don't know. I look at it. So I wrote a blog about this yesterday, and I did see some of the comments. Like I was saying, how like people are like, oh, this guy's a player. I know you're not making this case, Dukes, but like, oh, this guy just should shut up and play. He's making millions of dollars. It's like, well, then who are you rooting for? The guy making millions, the guy making billions.
Well, didn't they say that they would negotiate the contract if he showed up, and he agreed to that, and he never showed up?
And he said at the press conference he was going to basically show up.
Right. So if he never shows up
and play, he said I'm a man of my word.
Right. So if he never shows up and they're keeping their end, they're like, if you show up, we'll negotiate, and he never shows up, he's not living up to his first end of the bargain. So I don't know. And again, I want to clown the Jets more than anybody in this scenario. I think it's like kind of hilarious to how it started, but I think Joe Douglas is, for how bad he botched it, actually is doing the right thing right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, yeah, I guess you can't let a guy. Hassan Reddick's a really good player. He's not good enough to let you just strong arm it. Like
right,
your whole team.
He could strong arm you. If you guys gave up like a second-round pick for him or something, and it's like it's a fucking third-round conditional pick. At the end of the day, yes, it sucks because you don't have like you're kind of basing your defense around him for this year, but it's not like he has. Like, they don't give a fuck if the third-round conditional pick doesn't turn out to be anything.
So, also, I don't think you're really basing the defense. Like, I mean, I
totally agree.
They have numerous defensive players.
No, but you have this 2-year window that's because Aaron Rodgers is very small. You got to take advantage of it. And at some point, it's like, Woody, what do you do? Like, that's and this all, for me, kind of goes back to Woody Johnson. Woody Johnson fucks everything up. He's been fucking everything. People say the Jets are cursed. Jets aren't cursed. We just have Woody Johnson as our owner. That's the curse. And, like, is this another thing he's fucking up by trying to, like, only these short-term deals and stuff?
Clemmer, I just have another thing. Do you wish you would have paid Bryce Huff over this whole Hassan Reddick situation?
Looking back on it, of course. Yeah, I mean, Huff's younger. I liked Huff a lot. I understand he got paid a shit ton of money, and I understood why he left. But I thought, Reddick, that makes sense. Like, it all kind of made sense on paper. But the way this is played out, of course, anybody would say that.
With him, you guys are a top 3 defense. Mm-hmm. Right? On roster?
Yeah.
With no injuries?
I think so. I like to think so.
What are you guys without him?
Probably not that far away from that.
So,
I was going to say.
But that can make the difference. But when the AFC is so stacked, when you're, these competitive games we're playing against these really good AFC teams, you need every advantage you can have. And he might make the difference in a game or two.
Also, from a Jets...
Yeah, but he also might not. What if he's a locker room cancer and actually the opportunity cost of how much of a headache he is?
I guess. Did you hear? I mean, I don't know. I never really heard that from the Eagles, that he was this bad guy. That's another thing where I'm kind of like stunned that this is happening, but maybe he is. I don't know.
I think, and again, I don't know the whole contractual situation in NFL with but I think that when you say you haven't heard anything from the Eagles, I think it spoke volumes now looking back at it that they only traded him for a conditional third-round pick.
And they were willing to take Huff to replace him too. That always worried me.
So that is him saying.
That was a little bit like, all right, do they want to get younger, or is this guy a problem, or both, or what? That always kind of never really sat 100% right with me, but I don't know.
I think he just wants a lot of money, and they were willing to bet on Huff for a little bit less money.
Also,
and being younger.
And they paid Huff a good amount too.
It was a 351, something like that.
That third-round conditional pick, it could be something the Eagles somehow magically turn into 3 first-round picks, knowing how Howie Roseman does deals.
I don't know.
I mean, geez, I give a compliment and I get nothing here.
No, it's a reach, Phil. Phil, did you have something nice to say about Daniel Jones today? Did you do your homework?
I said it yesterday.
Okay.
What did you say?
I liked him.
You said he went to a good college.
Yeah, good college, good education.
Also, I will say genuinely, he looks like a different human being with the beard.
Daniel Jones?
Have we not talked about the beard? Did the beard?
Well, no, we said he was very handsome.
But he just his whole demeanor, I feel like, has changed.
Phil won't admit he's handsome.
He's definitely not a bad looking guy.
He's a handsome guy.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy for sure.
Kay Adams legitimately.
The beard, I think, is
problem.
Because the beard, he's got more like a. He just doesn't look quite as dockery to me. Like he doesn't look as much like aw shucks to me with the beard. He's got a little more fuckboy in him, which I kind of want. I want a little more fuckboy out of Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
He needs a little more fuckboy in his game.
I'm a big Kay Adams fan.
I'm stunned. Clemmer said
she's the one reporter that can get any athlete to really get lost in her eyes. Who is it?
Taylor Rooks.
No, Joe Burrow. Daniel Jones even Daniel Jones last year got lost in her, and then this year she got lost in Daniel Jones.
I think those kids should try to. I don't know if they're who's married to who or what the situations are. But if they're both single, those kids should work it out.
It is
it's
so funny. When I think about that, Twitter just carrying that narrative of Daniel Jones and Kay Adams. She might have even Shams, but it's
her and Shams. That's the one
that's another one. But it's so funny. Kay Adams just might have a boyfriend that's just dude. Yeah. Everyone makes jokes about her fucking any athlete.
Well, we're not saying that. I was harmlessly flirting. You took it to a different level.
People always joke about Shams.
Yeah. I think that's just fun. But that I understand that.
It's the Twitter jokes.
You know who got fucked yesterday, or who got beat up yesterday?
The Yankees.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
What happened there? White Sox.
They got smoked. What's his name? However you say his last name, though, with three words or whatever, was fucking awful. I mean, it wasn't going great.
Oh yeah, Diego Santos.
But also it was 5-2. It wasn't 12-2 before he came in. It was
I mean,
maybe it was still winnable potentially at that point. But I mean, he is dog shit.
You got to worry. It's not just him though. You got to worry about. You got to worry a little bit when you get kicked in the face like that by the White Sox.
Listen.
Historically, they're the worst team of all time.
It's they haven't been great. They kind of have been on this little weird run where they kind of came back. They had the good series against the Phillies.
They played pretty well against the Rangers. Won
Yeah,
2
they
out of 3
play,
against the
2 out of 3
Rangers.
against Rangers, but then they've had like they dropped 2 out of 3 of the Angels.
Yeah.
They lose the White Sox last night the way they did. Listen, I'll never get too like it's such a long baseball season. Like you'll have a game like that where you just like lay a fucking egg.
I will say it's
It wasn't great.
the first time the White Sox have scored more than 14 hits, have hit more than 14 hits in a game, and it's the first time they've had a 10-run lead in a game
because also
all year.
Because the end, it's almost like that ending, him just getting absolutely shelled in the last like 2 innings was. I mean, it was honestly the more annoying thing for me was how many runners they left on base like so early in the game.
Yeah.
They had a million opportunities to have like a 6-2 leads, whatever, and they just could not get runners home.
Look at Kai Bush's line. He's the rookie starter for the White Sox. 4 2/3 innings. Okay, 6 hits, 7 walks, 2 runs.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you just can't,
it
like-
seems like hard to do,
You just can't have 13 base runners.
and only get 2 runs out of it.
Get two, like, you
Yeah,
just
that's
can't do it.
crazy.
4 innings, you just can't do it. That to me was more concerning than dog shit bullpen guy just getting absolutely just torqued in the last 2 innings. But
I had the White Sox +3 yesterday. It was a minus like 120 bet, and yeah, I saw +3. I'm like, I gotta jump on this. I'm on. That's my pick of the day too. Is against Nestor Cortez. He's starting. I do not think he's gonna get a win today. It's minus 120.
yeah, I just listen. The Yankees, like I'll say like this, I'm no like more concerned than I like already was. The concerns I've had the last like 3 years are the same. Like they're no different. Like losing, getting smoked by maybe the worst team in baseball history doesn't really make me feel like worse about it. I already like feel just it's cautiously optimistic. That's what I feel about this team. It's how I felt.
Well, I mean, you are in line for the playoffs. You do have one of the
That's
best
what I'm saying,
records in
like-
baseball.
like
There are a lot of positives.
I just don't. I just like won't. Not say I won't care. I won't like. It's just what they do in
one
the
game.
playoffs. Like this, like no, like to me almost unless they literally went like 0-30 and didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Like I wouldn't. It's just all about what they do in the playoffs. This almost is like we're at a point now where it almost feels like the rest of the regular season is a borderline formality.
See, I don't see
The
that
way
way.
I feel like in my obviously they need
Because you guys are trying to win the
they
division.
need to get right and they want to win the division. And Garrett Cole needs to get right. Like we need like
Yes.
him to get like rolling into the playoffs.
2 good starts in a row.
Dominant stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like that. If that gets rolling, like Gil was not good yesterday,
No.
but also like he's been overall like pretty consistent.
Yes, he has.
I mean, he had a little rough stretch, and then yesterday was bad, but not like god awful. Like we can work from that. But I mean, yeah, it just need that third guy to be consistent. I think is the big. If it's going to be Stroman, if it's going to be Rodon, like whoever that guy is going to be, if Clark Schmidt can come back, I don't know who it's going to be, but
I went to the game on Sunday. Stroman, he didn't have great command their first 2 innings. Then he kind of figured it out. He was actually really good. He only went like 5 innings, but shut the Rangers out. I think it was 5 innings scoreless or 1 run at most. Just looked really good, like a fish in the mound, especially after those first 2 innings. He just, as much as I don't like the guy personally, like I feel like he's been a pretty good pitcher for you guys this year.
no, he would to me like right now would be the clear like if we were throwing out 3 guys, it would be Cole, Gill, Stroman.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
And I think they would go Rodon 4th. I would.
Yes, yeah. Cortez has been horrible. That's another reason I'm against him.
Nestor's
He's been atrocious of late.
Nestor's the long bullpen guy in the playoffs.
Yes.
I would say at this moment
And he also has experience coming out of the pen.
yeah, no, I think that'd be his role right now if things get hairy in like the 3rd, 4th inning of a big playoff game. He's probably the guy that's going in for an inning or 2.
That makes sense.
But yeah, it just gets October. Like that's all what's gonna matter to me. Like a season going to the ALCS and losing, like it's the same shit we've been doing the last like basically 10 plus years.
So you'll say the Orioles do pass you by in the division. That wouldn't, and you guys still make the playoffs. Obviously, you wouldn't be enormously concerned. Play the extra round.
Obviously, needless to say, I'd prefer to win the division, but I mean, I think it'd be matchup based too. But I mean,
Yes, of course.
Right now, you would play the Minnesota Twins in that wild card round.
Yeah, like
how
that-
would you feel?
that'd be ideal.
How would you feel about that series? Think you'd beat them?
That would be ideal.
You laugh, Phil. I don't sleep on the Twins. I don't hate. Joe Ryan just got hurt.
I think I almost had a deja vu moment where I think we were sitting in these same seats and had the same conversation last year, and I pretended to snore, and you got very upset with me.
Yes, and the Twins won that series. And the Twins won. You guys like the Twins cannot win a series. I said they can. They're not going to win a
I guess
game.
they did win that
That
series.
was
Like they
First taste
can,
of
and they won a series.
That was my first taste of Clemens when you snored.
I was like, and he got so mad at me. But my take was more that like they're not. It was more just their general. I don't fear them whatsoever. They're not going to do anything like.
Yeah.
They did win that series. You're right. They did win that.
The Twins are right. They're like who's scarier, the Orioles, the Mariners, or the Twins? Right. The Twins are the least scary of that group, of course.
For sure.
Not going to argue that.
And I've said over. There's just until they humble me, there will be a mental block forever. I will just give the Twins zero respect until they give me a reason to.
I'd be very, if I'm an American League team, I'm very scared of the Mariners right now. Mariners, I think.
Oh, yeah, they'd be. That's what I'm saying. I'm significantly more worried about the Mariners.
And to some extent the Astros, but the Mariners to me,
for sure.
with that pitching staff, and now they got a Rosarena and Julio Rodriguez is back. Obviously, just beat the shit out of the Mets, but I just think that pitching staff is legit. They're a team definitely to watch in the AL. But yeah, the Yankees, you're right, Ev. It is just one game. You got 2 more against the White Sox here. I'm not saying the White Sox are going to win or lose today, but I am on Cortez not getting a win. That's more against Cortez than it is about anything else.
Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Just a note on the Astros. On May 8th they were 12-24. Since then they're 50-31, the best record in baseball.
That's on pace for it's a 100-win pace.
So
That's
the
crazy.
Astros are the Astros again.
No, they're definitely a
Yeah,
team I'm
they
concerned
are.
about. Absolutely.
And they're getting Verlander back, I think, in a couple weeks. Now, I don't know what condition he's going to be in, but it looks like he'll be ready to play in a couple weeks.
So who right now? Who's their 3? Like obviously
Framber, Renel Blanco,
and obviously. All right, so Verlander.
probably Hunter Brown. He's been pitching really well the last 2 months. So let's say Verlander does not come back. I think you'd see those 3 in.
You think Verlander comes back and say he looks like okay?
Then Hunter Brown probably becomes the 4 guy or Renel Blanco.
You think Framber, no matter what, gets ball game 1?
Yes. Framber, Verlander, and then either Hunter Brown or Blanco.
Also, another note, since May 8th, they have allowed the fewest runs of any team in the majors since that date.
Since May 8th?
Since May 8th.
That's really interesting, Phil. So that tells me the bullpen's pitching really well then. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So, like I said, don't sleep on the Astros. They're back again.
I don't snore when.
No, the Astros snore. The Astros, no. The Astros and Mariners to me are, especially with the Orioles, maybe Grayson Rodriguez being hurt. Yankees, I have Garrett Cole's been pitching a little better for sure. I haven't seen Ace, the guy we saw last year yet. So to me, right now, the teams to beat in the AL might be the Mariners and Astros.
I might take the Astros over any team in the American League right now.
Also,
I think
we need Jazz to be okay. That's a concern.
Yeah. What do we have any update on that, Phil, or any news on that? Like he left the game early. It was a weird injury.
Wait, which game?
Jazz Chisholm left the game early yesterday with a shoulder.
Initial tests were fine. He just has to get an MRI, which
Okay.
I think it could be something. It could not be. He's got to wait for the results.
Yeah, no, you guys are right. He's been. We talked about it a little yesterday. Like he's been hitting much better than I thought he would. I don't know if it's because that right field is so short, or if he's just comfortable. He's just on a hot streak right now. But then you mix that with his versatility, and you're absolutely right, Ev. That's someone you definitely need to be healthy because being able to put him at third base, I didn't know they would be able to do that with him. And he had an error. He had a kind of a weak play yesterday on Saturday or Sunday when I went to the game. But overall, he's been pretty good at third base.
Also, just going from a Marlins team, it's just nothing but boring for like 6 years.
They went to the playoffs last year.
It's still the Marlins. Going from that to the Yankees.
I agree with Phil. I mean, I've said that. I do think there's still there's a human element to things like that where when you even just take out last year, you go from a team that's dog shit to all of a sudden like one of the best teams in the league. I think there's a little, and it's been a known thing that he, regardless of whether he was in the right or wrong, that either he wasn't like there or he didn't love being there. Maybe probably a little bit. I'm sure a little bit of both was probably the case.
I think it's probably more on him, honestly.
Sure, regardless.
But you're right. He might have burned some bridges there.
You like just fresh start.
Yes.
You just go from last. You just went from last to first in 2 seconds.
It might be nice too, not having to be the guy, although he seems to like being the guy. But and you're in a clubhouse with Juan Soto. You're in a clubhouse with Aaron Judge, even Stanton, Garrett Cole. Like these guys are either Hall of Famers or borderline Hall of Famers. And then you don't need to be the guy. Maybe that's helping him. I don't know.
Yeah, I just think there's something like that just puts a pep in your step, just a little more, just that general, just like that enthusiasm.
The fans, there really aren't many fans at Marlins games.
Just enjoying like your general experience,
yeah, that's
not
true.
just showing up, clocking in, clocking out. Like,
Fair.
I do think there's an element to that can definitely help just effort and just overall just focus.
That's fair.
It's huge. The one thing I want to talk about too is I'm sure we'll get Dukes in on this as well. Just the kind of the overall takeaway from the first preseason games, and all the rookie quarterbacks played well.
It's just hilarious.
Kind of crazy.
But it's also like the overreactions to everything.
Yeah.
And I know we
Yep.
see like
Yep.
it's like you see, and again I'll go after like just first JJ. Like JJ throws an interception on his first drive. Everyone on Twitter's clowning and being like, "Told you he was a bust. Told you this. Told you that," and then he goes off. And it's like, okay, like you can't overreact to a pick. You can't overreact to him tearing up like a defense's twos. And then you have like someone like Caleb Williams, which I guess you can. If you're a Bears fan, you should be excited.
He can't. Well, the thing with Williams,
Yeah.
him and Daniels, I think you'd be excited because they
Right.
are excited with like cautiously excited, but
1 and 2.
they were playing with the ones. Like they were playing. That's
Right.
with JJ. That'd be the only concern. Like he was playing against twos the whole time in threes.
Right,
By the time like
one
second
thing,
half.
Again, I will, because I have to. I'll defend him.
No, please.
He at least showed that he is better than the twos.
And
doesn't show that you're better
the
than
thing,
ones.
and I'm gonna compliment JJ right now. Some of the ball placements were like elite.
We actually
He's
have
off-
some
I
breaking.
will say this. 1 second.
Well, it's about JJ. It's important breaking news.
All right, what is it, Phil? Just...
He's expected to undergo knee surgery that will determine how much time he'll be sidelined.
No.
Oh, Phil with actual
way.
breaking news.
Can I say
Phil,
this? That was the best breaking news he's put on the show.
nice job, Phil.
And we're talking about the guy.
Wow.
Yeah, good job.
I thought they had said it.
So good.
I just thought some of the throws, like the ball placement,
Right.
if you were like was perfect.
What do we? So what's going on? So he's.
I thought it was minor.
have
I didn't really-
surgery?
I thought it was minor. I didn't
He's
realize
expected
it
to
was,
undergo knee surgery.
Oh no.
Sam Darnold squarely in line to be starting QB. McCarthy complained about knee soreness over the weekend, underwent an MRI on Monday.
So this brings to mind some lines I'm looking at here for most regular season rookie passing yards before this injury was announced. I'm looking at it right now in front of me. Caleb Williams plus 100, Jaden Daniels plus 250, and JJ McCarthy was plus 500. It's still there, I think. Bo Nix plus 500.
Well, if JJ's missing any time,
Yeah, see,
Right.
Jay, I wouldn't. I was not even like we have our history, whatever. But just the fact that
you make it sound like you dated him and it went badly.
he just like ruined my life for a couple
Yes,
years.
yeah,
but,
yeah.
But I think regardless of the way he played in this preseason, there was like a very good chance he wasn't going to start week 1 regardless. Right. So that's why I just never loved him in that specific bet.
I didn't either. That's why I've been on Caleb Williams
That's-
plus
I think
100. I know
when
it's chalky, but like plus
that's what I
100
was
for a
saying,
guy
too.
that's definitely going to play.
I think he's the best player in the best situation.
Yes.
Like they have a million receivers. I think they're gonna trust him to throw it quite a bit.
And it's plus 100? That's not
I
bad.
really think the only
all right.
other one that has a chance, and this is all barring health, obviously.
Yes.
But I'm saying the only one that has a chance, all things square, is Daniels. But even then, I think Williams should be
Daniels is plus 250.
clear favorite.
I do want to speak to Daniels real quick for a second. So he played against the Jets, right? And he looked pretty good. No shame on him. He did absolutely. The Jets didn't play 28 players, basically all of their starters. So he was. I know he started the game, but he was up against twos. I'm just saying.
It was that one throw he made on this was
He
incredible.
looked really good.
Ian Rappaport's calling it a meniscus injury.
Okay, so that's one of those where like
You
could
just
Mike
clean it
Trout.
up.
he could play this season.
I love when it's like a meniscus. I'm like, just clean it up.
But he also is losing his preseason reps. Like,
Yep.
Oh, no, I mean it's hard to see him starting this year, but maybe like
it would,
I bet
because
at some point-
meniscus are weird. Like they can get surgery and be back in like a month or two.
it would take a Sam Darnold injury or just him throwing 4 interceptions in a game.
So what are we thinking? 6 weeks for that? I'm just going by Mike Trout stuff. 6, because he
Probably
just had the
6 to 8
meniscus.
probably.
So that gets him. Say he's available for week 7, and like you guys are saying, he hasn't had a preseason.
gonna
I
make
don't
it
see
tough
him
on the
starting this year, unless maybe like the last game of the year or something like that. If it's a meaningless game,
Yeah.
But I don't. I'd see this basically.
But
being,
even
don't
the
think he's out for
Vikings,
the year.
the Vikings are a team that
no,
has,
not out for the year. I don't see him starting this year.
Oh, I do. I still do at some point.
When? Like just do.
Like after a bye week, like again, do you think that
When's their bye
I
week?
think the Vikings. So I think the Vikings will be good, not great. Even if you're sitting at like 500 and you're 6-6, you could probably put in JJ at some point.
I don't know if you
See, 6
would see not in the NFC.
I think 6
I
and
think you're riding your horse.
No, I'm not. I, like even look at like someone like with the Ryan Fitzpatrick year with the Dolphins. Like they were riding high, and then like we got to put in 2 at some point.
Yeah, I think it really.
Fair, I
I
guess.
think it very much depends the way that 6-6 looks, because I think even that's what we saw with
100%.
Eli.
I do agree with that.
The Giants were 5-4,
Right,
and we
I
just
do-
pulled Kurt Warner.
Exactly.
But that was even a little different. Eli was like the surefire number 1 pick.
Their bye, by the way, is week 6.
Yes, that hurts. That definitely hurts his case. I guess less
Unless
games
you're, like,
I'll miss,
unless
but
you're 1-5.
Listen, if he's 1-5, he'll,
Then yeah, I guess
What
right.
is
he'll definitely go in at some
I don't
point.
think meniscus is that big of a deal.
What
No,
if
it's
Sam
not. It's like a
Darnold is just
2-month
good
injury.
In my,
though?
in my expertise,
Well, then they'll ride Darnold then.
Yeah, like what if Sam Darnold is just like a really good quarterback this year?
Then McCarthy sits.
I've been on the record that I think he's going to be really good.
Really good? He's gonna throw his picks.
I think he's going to be okay.
So I've told Ev this, that I think with Darnold, the interesting thing about him is I think if you look at like a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, not a lot. I think there's a very few that can make bad receivers look good. But there's a shit ton of quarterbacks that can look good with good receivers, and I think Sam Darnold's never had good receivers to help him out.
I agree with you.
No, I think he can look decent.
Like if he doesn't look good in this, but he ain't
sucks.
ever looking good.
Well, no, that's kind of what I'd said about JJ too. Just the way the Vikings are structured, good receivers, good offensive line. Like if you stink like this, you just
Right, he just has to wait for
you
his
just
defense.
stink.
Yeah.
It might also benefit. I know, you never want surgery. I know that. I'm a big advocate of sitting a year, and if you can just kind of sit there and kind of work on getting healthy, work on like learning how the NFL works, work on just kind of living the job for a year, that's not the worst thing for a kid.
I also think he's the type that he's young. I think he could definitely benefit from it more than I think even some of the other guys in this class. Really young and just didn't throw the ball a ton in college.
I actually will say, going off that, my other guy, I actually think that like Drake May, I think will sit for a while.
Well, also, I was explaining to Clemmer before we started the show the Joe Milton experience. And Dukes, you said to me a week or two ago that New England was not going through Joe Milton experience. Yes, they are.
No.
Now they are.
The fans are.
Well, that's who else would it be?
I thought you meant like the media members. Like they're not.
The
getting,
media members
he's
are
not
too.
getting-
They're blowing them left and right.
Are to
Like
some degree.
He's not getting any reps in practice or anything. Like nobody's really like no coaching is like falling for the Joe Milton thing.
No, but the whole Joe Milton experience is like he just shows up somewhere, and you're like, oh my God, he's 6'5" and he can throw the ball a country mile.
Right.
And he's just athletic.
I'm not
and
falling
big.
for it for a third time.
Yeah, but it's also I was more joking with.
I think you're more knowledgeable than the
like you watch college football.
people back
You've
home
been through
don't
this.
really watch like as much college football as you do.
You have Felger and Maz who are going to try to push this fucking agenda.
Exactly.
They're not real people.
But
A lot of people listen to them.
Fair. I also
And
think, like,
it's more just
I knew fans would go through it in the preseason.
like
That I'm not
even like
denying.
PFF puts out like he was the number one graded quarterback in preseason with
Please
Joe
don't-
Milton.
I can't talk
Very
about it.
funny.
But Drake-
But that's what I'm talking about. Like shit like that. He goes out there against threes in the preseason game and plays well and makes some throws and looks good. He's scrambling fucking all over the place, looking like Mike Vick out there, looking like Mahomes.
The Patriots GM right now, or like sit-in GM, whatever. He comes from the Packers. And what do the Packers do? They set their quarterbacks for like a long fucking time.
And it works out for them.
Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just fucking threw Jacoby out there for the entire year, or up until like week like 12, and like had him come in for like pointless games like 4 games ago.
I think that would benefit the player. I'm a big believer in sitting a year, especially if you're a kind of a bad team anyway. Why not?
Drake May's the most raw quarterback.
Probably. I think he'll end up playing eventually, like even like the second half of the season.
I
at some
do.
point.
I meant more like
Because the Patriots, I mean, if they're look up and they're 4-8, like they're gonna be like
They're
I
not-
mean,
4-8,
even
but
before that,
I
I would
don't
say
Every
like
game
you're
is
being
more
like
like-
7, 4, and 6.
I will-
You're being generous.
I'm being
Probably
very.
right.
I'm being
They're only
very,
at 2-8. They're
Probably right.
terrible.
I'm being
They're gonna
very-
say put the kid in at some point.
See, I'm not gonna say something, but the defense could win them a couple of games.
I agree they can win him a
They
few.
have to. Their offense isn't going to win.
Right. That's
And
all.
Brissett,
That
and
is all I'm
Brissett's
saying.
like Brissett's
Yes.
okay.
Like he can win an NFL.
He's
game.
okay.
Yes.
So, but every game for the Patriots, it doesn't really matter. The reason why you wouldn't throw Drake May is just to not throw him into the fire. That's it.
All right, here's a reason why the Patriots, it might benefit them maybe to sit him. You probably want the number 1 pick next year, right? Like, if you're really bad, let's say you're 1-11 or 2-10, which is pretty realistic. Like, do you just want to keep that train going so that way you get the number 1 pick? Or would Drake May not make that much of a difference in his rookie year anyway?
I'm with Ev. I do not think that you should ever play for the number 1 pick.
Why? But not playing for, but just maybe just kind of keep
I think
the
it's
train.
like a locker room morale thing. Like if you're a new coaching staff, new regime, and you're like implementing that like loser mentality, like
Yes.
that is bad.
I agree. I just don't believe
I
in
don't
it.
agree.
I understand there are points in time that you can, or there's like been places in time that you could point to it and be like, look, we would have got
Yes,
Jets would have
I
got
agree with
Lawrence,
that.
they would have got this guy. But I just believe overall, like just the way you just like operate, manage your football team.
Look at this.
Because I just think the players can like feel that way. If you're literally like not giving a like honest effort to win games, and when I say effort, I mean like not effort like physically on the field, but just like
the roster.
They're running the roster and making like decisions of starters and this and that. Like I just think that's.
But if I'm a GM,
cancerous to a locker room.
I know that you look
and
at
a
the
culture
Trevor Lawrence
cancerous
thing.
to it.
I know you look at the Trevor Lawrence thing for the Jets, and I get that. But you also have to look at Lovie Smith with the Texans. He was like, fuck that. We're not tanking. We're going to go out and win this game. And then you know what that win ended up getting them?
Yeah,
CJ Stroud.
right.
So it's not like
there are always exceptions to rules. But here's my overall point. If I'm running the roster, if I'm the GM of the Patriots, I'm like saying fuck this because I'd rather be 2-15 than 6-11. 6-11 does me no good.
So I'll play the devil's advocate. I would play to that. Is I think like those wins as insignificant as they seem like in the moment for that season, that it's making obviously no difference on you like making the playoffs or not or making a run. I still believe those type of things can be like building blocks moving forward of like building a roster and a culture, especially a team like theirs who are incredibly young, especially on offense, super young, talent wise. So I just feel like those things build to like trying to become a winner, like going forward, like 2025 and beyond.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
I agree because then it's like as a coaching staff, it's like, hey, look, like if you lose to the Chiefs, like I know this is not like wouldn't happen. Like you play the Chiefs, you lose by like 1, and they get like a bullshit touchdown in the fourth quarter, and it's like a 14-score game. You could look at them in the offseason and be like, hey, we hung with the best team in the NFL. Like that's a loss, but if we keep building on this, then maybe next year that turns into a win.
But wouldn't you rather have the number 1 pick and then having the number 1 or number 2 pick or number 3 pick as opposed to like the number 8 or 9 pick? The Giants last year, like you guys ended up getting Neighbors, who's a nice player, but if you guys were a little worse, you could have gotten maybe somebody else.
Sure, but at the same,
could have gotten that quarterback instead of Daniel Jones out there, Meek Mill's favorite player.
But it's still such a crapshoot. Whereas like if you hit on your like if you have the 9th pick as opposed to like the 2nd pick, we'll say.
Right. Yeah.
If you hit, you hit. Like you know what I mean. Like and especially they have the luxury of they don't need a quarterback. Like they just took there, so whatever he becomes, they're definitely not.
But you could trade those picks
next year.
Sure. Like, I think
then you can trade like you do, like what the Bears did.
I get what you're saying assets wise, but I just think you're trying to build that culture. I just think that's not a way to not build it. Is like you're going out there like I said, not losing games on purpose.
But building a roster built to lose.
I just think everyone in that facility and just a part of that organization, you can feel that. I just think that's a shitty, like, just bad way to go about it. Like, and like Duke said, especially with like a new coach, whole new regime, and even especially times 10 following Bill Belichick in this run they've had.
Yeah,
you're trying to start something totally new. And I just think you don't do that going, like I said, if they go 1-15 or 1-16 on their own accord, then whatever. I mean, they probably do stink, but.
Right, and Clemmer, the one thing is, like, if this was, like, year 3 of Gerard Mayo, and it's like, all right, like, you need to finally put this whole shit together, and they suck, and you know he's probably going to get pushed out, then, yeah, I'm probably rooting for a tank.
I just think, though, at some point.
I go the other way, though. I'd rather root for the tank year 1, so that way he has assets to build with. And we're kind of like Jimmy Johnson did the Cowboys.
I think it's very much building blocks. That's just my personal belief.
But those are the building blocks of draft picks. Like, look at the Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys. Like, when they traded Herschel Walker and they got all those picks back, that's how he built that super team.
Mentality. I'm with Ev on the locker room mentality thing. And again, it's.
Well, that's the ultimate. That's a great like sports argument, right? Like what that this is like a great old school sports argument. Like, all right, you know, what's better, the brain or the heart, right? Like I'm saying, have those picks. You guys are saying, well, you need to have the culture, you need to have the enthusiasm. You don't want to, ruin these guys young in their career. It's
right. Like, again, this is the last thing I'll really say about this situation. Then there's one I want to talk about is like. For the Patriots, I do believe that in next year, the following year, that everything besides I think the offensive line they really need to clean up. That's the biggest thing for me. That's it. So it's not like you don't have to get a quarterback at one.
Wide receivers, you happy with your skill players there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe like
they drafted a couple good ones that I think.
And if you don't have belief, then like why are you a sports fan? But like again,
well, no, you can not believe and still be a fan. You can be like, I don't like the picks they made.
Like CeeDee Lamb might become available, something like that. Like you don't know. And again. Players will come if you start winning. So if you go 6-10 and players in the free agency start seeing that like there's a building block there, maybe they'll want to come.
Phil doesn't have faith in Daniel Jones, but he's still a Giants fan.
Is he?
That's a good question.
Can I? And now
I think it's one of the more fair points that ever been said on this.
The other rookie quarterback
is Meek Phil a Giants fan.
The other rookie quarterback I want to talk about with you guys is Bo Nix.
I was going to bring him up next. Thank you. We have to. We got to talk about it.
On top of that, Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson played awesome.
Yeah.
He played fucking phenomenal.
I'll be happy if Sam Darnold has a great year this year. I really will. I won't have any if Zach Wilson has a good year, I'll be pissed off. You know what I mean?
It's the
But also with Zach Wilson, he is the 3. The way at least the way they're treating it right now.
No, I've seen everything that he's the 2.
But Stidham was who started.
No, I know. I've heard.
Yeah,
And they said before they did that game, they said Stidham's going to start the first preseason game. Bo Nick's going to start the second one, which leads me to believe that he's they're not even putting Wilson in the equation to start.
I saw this again. Just like on Broncos Twitter, it's like some people were like, it is so just from I guess practice and everything that it's so firm that Zach Wilson's QB2. And
So
I don't know if that means
that makes Bo Nix QB3, obviously.
or maybe I don't know.
No, I think Bo Nix would be in the mix for 1 too.
So then what happens with Stidham then?
See, that to me makes
I
no
assume
sense.
they were starting Stidham to start
That to
the
me
year?
just makes
Or am
no
I
sense
wrong?
if he was the firm 3, but then he's starting the first preseason.
Broncos are a mess, huh? Jesus
I'll-
Christ.
But Nix, I don't know. I mean, I've said a bunch. I didn't like him coming out of college. I didn't like him in this job. I mean, if he's good for him. I don't see it. He looked good. It was against the 2s and all that. And none of the, at least from everything I watched, I watched all of his throws. They were very it was, I don't want to say easy throws, but it just reminded me of the reason I didn't like him in Oregon. Just a lot of screens, a lot of short intermediate routes, which intermediate routes, you got to be able to hit those. In the NFL, that's huge for a lot of guys, but I don't know.
Don't forget how good Zach Wilson looked the last year preseason backing up Aaron Rodgers. Remember, it was Hard Knocks. Oh, Zach Wilson. He does really good against 2s and 3s.
He looked really good versus the Chiefs too.
Yeah, it was one game, Phil.
I mean, it's a Super Bowl winning team.
Yeah.
did play
And how about the rest of his career, Phil?
good in that game.
Looked good versus the Chiefs.
Phil, you know what? You shit on Daniel Jones all the time. Daniel Jones is much better than Zach Wilson.
I don't know much better.
Well, look at the stats.
He's definitely a lot better.
I don't know much better.
Well, look at the stats, though. I mean, just look at the numbers. The numbers tell you that.
We're about to be in a stalemate over the word much, but
Do you think that? Do you think that there's? I've said this once Zach Wilson went. If Zach Wilson's ever going to get his career resurrected, it's going to be under Sean Payton.
I'm actually starting
Is
to.
he starting to lose his magic a little bit?
I've been saying this for the last year or two that for some reason we called this guy a genius, but we called Mike McCarthy a dipshit. Their resumes couldn't be more the same.
They're both dipshits.
They're almost to a T. I'm talking wins, playoff wins, everything, almost exactly the same. And you can even argue with this, the only thing you could say, I'd say right this moment, is that Dallas's talent is better, but he's also done more with it. I mean,
I don't disagree with you. I think that both of them get an unfair narrative, and it's Sean Payton for being too good,
Mike
McCarthy for being too bad.
How much of it was? Did he get too much credit when Drew Brees just came and saved the city
right?
of New
Do you
Orleans?
think that he helped with Drew Brees' development?
I'm sure. I feel like he had to have on some level, but let's also forget that Drew Brees was an incredible player on the Chargers as well. He took it to another level in New Orleans, but he was a Pro Bowl caliber player in San Diego.
I just have a good question for you. How many good coaches do you think there are in the NFL? Good head coaches.
Good is a little more loose of a word than great per se, but good.
I don't know if I'd call Sean Payton a good coach anymore.
That's where it's a weird because
Maybe he's okay now.
He also has had a lot of success, but it's
Yeah, but has he? He's in the past decade? Really? I don't know if yes.
Who are the good ones? Is Kyle Shanahan a good coach?
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm 100.
Clearly.
He's a great
Andy
coach.
Reid, obviously.
Yes.
Great coach.
These are also great coaches, not just good coaches.
Yeah, I would say even going to even Tomlin, I would say obviously a really good coach.
I would call Tomlin a good coach. Yeah, really. Yeah.
Harbaugh, obviously. I'm saying
Harbaugh's
I'm saying John Harbaugh.
good coach. Yeah.
I would
Phenomenal,
like to say something about
phenomenal
Tomlin.
coach.
Tomlin is. I think that it might be one of the worst level of coaches in the world, where they're good enough to never get good enough where you're always gonna have a winning football team, which I think any fan should want, but not great. He wouldn't be in the great conversation with an Andy Reid, where he's getting to championship games. So
But he also has won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I see.
Pittsburgh fans, and I'm not saying this is the right. They are fed up with him.
They're sick of being 9-8,
Right.
9-7, whatever.
But how much is that the coach's fault? I don't know. That
That's
roster
what I
hasn't
agree.
been
I
great.
think he's done. Yeah, I think he's done good with the roster overall. I don't think they've drafted as good as they
I'm on
had
the same
the
page as you
decade
guys.
before that.
I'm on the same page as you guys.
I would
I have so
say-
many friends from Pittsburgh that
So
say that shit to me.
I'll say the young coaches that I like I like D'Amico Ryans a lot. I like Steichen a lot.
I was gonna say it's 1 year, but I like Steichen. Yeah,
the Colts coach.
1 year.
Do you
for
think
Ryan,
Dan
obviously.
Campbell's a good coach?
Absolutely, I think he's a good coach.
Yeah, I'd say he's a good coach. He isn't coach. He's not the style I would like, but I would say he's a good coach. I wouldn't call him a great coach.
I would say LaFleur is a good coach for sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni.
Yes, I would say he's a good coach.
It's hard to say he's not a good coach.
I think this is a.
But this is a big year for him.
year
Massive
for that
year.
narrative.
Massive year. But I think it'd be.
One-hit wonder.
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, if they stink this year with the talent they have, then I would not say he's a good coach anymore. But
Did you
I
see
think
the
you
thing
can't
about
say he's not
Jalen
right
Hurts and Sirianni in the last season?
It's been a whole thing that they don't like each other and this and that. I never buy too much in that because I don't know how much, like, as long as you have I definitely think it works better when you like each other, but I don't think they got to be, like, in love with each other for it to work. But it's definitely been kind of like a weird narrative surrounding them.
Also the thing about Tomlin is I do think those offenses that he had when it was AB, Le'Veon, Martavius Bryant, I'm probably forgetting a couple of the other receivers, Big Ben, the fact that they never made a championship game is insane to look back at.
Yeah, I guess
AB
so.
was like the best receiver in football for
He was
6
for like
years in a row.
Yeah, for sure. At least like 3 or 4 for sure.
Sean McDermott's a good coach. Kevin Stefanski's a good coach.
Stefanski's definitely a good coach, I would say.
I think McDermott's a good coach.
McDermott,
He's not great, but he's
McVay,
good.
is he young still?
McVay's definitely.
McVay is a great
He's
coach.
a great coach for sure.
He's so young, but
He's
it's like,
yeah.
McVay's definitely
McVay
a
is
good
absolutely.
coach.
So they're
So there's a good coaches.
Doug
There's
Peterson.
Peterson's a good coach.
you think there's more good coaches in the NFL than bad ones?
more good than bad?
Like I feel like we're naming so many good ones. It's like
Depends on situations, too.
Yeah, probably.
We've only named probably like 10 names.
that's almost half the
I
league.
feel like more than that even. Yeah.
Well, 16's half.
I said almost. Like
We're gonna get Stillman almost.
Phil's
Hold on, I'll look it up.
Phil's too busy defending
less
Zach
than a
Wilson. Meanwhile, he shits all over Daniel Jones.
As much as I don't like him, I would say Jim Harbaugh also is a good coach.
Yes.
He's obviously had success
Right.
in the league before.
I wouldn't call either of our coaches good.
Dable is weird because Dable was so good his first year.
Right.
I think Dable's a good coach because I think given even taking the 2 years together, given the rosters he's worked with, I think he's done good coaching jobs. And even last year where they lost a lot of close games that I think could have went look at the quarterbacks he's had to work with.
he won several games with Tommy DeVito. He's a good
that's what
coach.
I'm
So let's
saying.
just
Then they
stop
went
the climber
3-3
narrative.
with Tommy,
It's not a climber narrative.
coach.
He doesn't have a winning record, Phil.
But I
Made the
That matters.
playoffs with Daniel Jones.
Hold on. But I think that's just saying he doesn't have a winning record, like just as a baseline, is unfair because all things are not equal.
No, they're not. He has yet to show him like he is not. I would call him.
He won.
I would call him okay right now. If he has a big year this year, he's good. Like I don't think he's a bad coach. I just don't call him a good coach right now.
He won a playoff game with Daniel Jones as his quarterback.
I understand, Phil. You also
He
have this
won a
weird-
Monday night game with Tommy DeVito as his quarterback.
So then Robert Saleh is a great coach because he won a game against the Chiefs with Zach Wilson. He's not.
He didn't win a game versus the Chiefs with Zach Wilson. He actually lost that
They
game.
did lose.
Oh, they do. I'm sorry. He almost won.
They almost didn't cover. Thank God Mahomes slid.
Like Robert Saleh is not a good coach either.
I wouldn't say Salah's a good coach.
I think Dable's a better coach than
Well,
Saleh.
we're comparing
for
four
sure.
I'm not-
losing seasons to one winning and one losing season. Or however many losing seasons Robert Saleh has.
3 probably.
Yeah, and he
Yes.
didn't have a starting quarterback last year.
Yeah.
Neither did Brian Dable.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
No, that's what I was
I don't
saying.
think Dable's
I
ever had a
forgot
starting
both- I forgot
quarterback,
both
but-
did it. I have quarterback ratings in Warren Sharp. I mean, head coaching rankings.
Yeah, go ahead.
All
Let
right.
me see him. I'm curious.
Pretty
I
interesting.
do like Sharp.
I will also one coach I want to.
There's also a bunch of new ones this year that you kind of have.
yeah, you have to see. Like you can't say the same about Gerard Mayo.
I think- 'cause
we don't know if he's good or bad. Like, we don't know.
I think Canales is an
Yeah,
incredible offensive mind, but it's like head
Yeah.
coach is a wholly different.
We don't
thing.
know.
I'm actually going to say I would have said if I thought I would have said by now if I thought Mayo was going to be a good coach.
Hold on. I actually have a
Might
name.
be.
I have a name too.
I have a name that I think I almost think you were about to say it. Maybe I just what you were about to
This would
say
be awesome.
sparked
Say
me.
it.
Mike McDaniel.
Fuck no.
Because that's a phenomenal debate of where you think he stacks as a coach.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot to like there, and then also a lot to.
it's hard for me to say he's good. I almost want to say he's fine. You know who's a good coach? He's not going to be on this list. He's out of work. Is Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel's a good
Vrabel, I
coach.
definitely think is a good coach.
Can I say who I think
Absolutely.
is going to be next year? This is my coach. I think we're going to be like he's a good coach now, top half of the league. Jonathan Gannon, Cardinals.
The Cardinals coach, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought about naming him with Steichen. They came. He's definitely
he's-
like.
Again,
I thought if Murray's healthy all year, they will not be nearly as bad as people think they're going to be. I think. I think they're like.
Yeah.
I think they'll be like
surprise-ish
decent
team.
at
What's that mean?
Dude,
Decent.
even last year they were like.
like close to like 500-ish.
Do you
All
remember
right.
how we were talking about the Cardinals last year?
So I'll
About
say
going into
like
the year?
7 wins.
7 to 9. I think it's possible.
That would surprise me.
9 would be a lot, but
That
I
would,
think
even because they won 4 last year, right?
I think with Murray being there the whole year, they can absolutely win 7.
I think that division would be a little worse too, right? The Seahawks would be a little bit worse. I'm down on the Rams.
The problem with the Rams, I've said we don't have to get in the Stafford thing yet. I love Stafford, but I just think the defense got significantly worse.
Defense gotten worse. Cooper Kupp also hasn't been able to stay on the field the last couple of years. I just think they're starting to see some cracks in formation. I do love McVay. The Rams are like I don't root against the Rams. I'm just a little bit down on them.
The Rams, I think, will always they're a team that if they fell off the cliff, that would shock me. Outside of Stafford,
Really?
Like if Stafford's healthy all year and they just went like 6-11,
They did it 2 years ago.
Shocked. He wasn't healthy.
No.
I was like, if Stafford was healthy all year and they were like 6-11, I would be shocked.
Yeah, probably not. But that's the big if is if Stafford's healthy.
But I'm saying
he's been a quarterback for some 6-win teams, right? The Lions.
But this is another where we're going like those rosters were fucking awful.
I feel like this roster.
You just had Calvin Johnson.
Rams
But
is
they were awful.
Some of the depth is in there. Not having them in his first round.
Also has a good coach. He didn't have good coaches.
It's true. McVay's borderline.
He has a good coach.
You could argue McVay's a great coach.
Absolutely. You have a great coach and
True.
in my opinion, still even now an elite quarterback when he's healthy and playing. But
So these are the top coaches.
McDaniel's really high.
Andy Reid,
O'Connell too.
John Harbaugh, Shanahan.
I think Zach Taylor's a pretty good coach.
That's high for Campbell. I would not have. I don't have McVay and Campbell in the same.
I think Campbell's absolutely that high.
Oh, I don't at all.
I think he's up there, top like 5-10.
Really?
Sure, absolutely.
I think O'Connell.
I mean, look what he.
Who would you rather have coach your team, Dan Campbell or Mike Tomlin? I'd rather have Mike Tomlin.
It's a good question.
Tomlin's 10th and Campbell's 4th.
I actually like that question. That's a good question.
Maybe I'm higher on Tomlin than a lot of people
Tomlin-
are.
Tomlin-
I like Mike Tomlin a lot. I think
it's a
Mike
good question.
Tomlin's like a great coach.
I think he is too. That's why I think it's a fair question. It's kind of like, do you like the upstart guy who's kind of built this team into like a full frontal winner, or the guy who's like always able to kind of like never make the
just
ship
steady your
bottom
hand.
out? Yeah, the ship never bottoms out under his watch. Campbell just, I mean, it's a tough debate because there's such a bigger like sample size with Tomlin. He's been a coach for
of course.
close to 20,
Oh, yeah.
15 plus years. Campbell's been a coach for 3 years.
I think Stefanski's a little low on that list. I thought he did a great job last
That's a
year.
good coach. Like I said, Zach Taylor, I think is an underrated, really good
I
coach.
wonder if Zach Taylor got a little exposed actually with Burrow going down. Although they still played pretty well.
But to me, I thought they played pretty well, and I think it's hard to say when you have that elite of a quarterback go down to say exposed. Like, I just think you're gonna just have a drop off.
Jake Browning also.
when
people
Burrow
are
doesn't
sucking
play
him
well
off for a little bit, being like they can make the playoffs with him. So it's like
He
does
played
get-
well.
yeah,
He
does
played
get-
well.
They
does he
stayed
get credit for
competitive.
Does he get credit for Jake Browning?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it was like a.
It wasn't a disaster. I'm just saying. I mean,
I actually
12th in that list. That's
I
all.
like seeing Taylor at 12 because I think he deserves to be in that upper half.
Ryans and Steichen both I think going to rise this year.
Yeah,
I understand why they're placed there, but those guys are on the way up.
Can I one more thing
Look
about
at Sean Payton,
with
huh?
Anthony Richardson? It is crazy the narrative with Anthony Richardson. How much it's done a 180 based off legitimately 3 games.
Yeah.
People when he came out of Florida, people were like, "How is he going so high? He sucks."
But it's
He's
also
got so much hype this year.
Richardson was so fascinating because the year before his last year, he looked incredible at times,
Right.
really good. I've said over and over, Florida firing Dan Mullen, having Anthony Richardson on the roster, the quarterback whisperer that he's been, was one of the most head scratching coaching moves I've ever seen in college football.
Fair.
I just could not fathom why they would do that. He's been unbelievable at quarterbacks over and over and over again, and they have this blue chip, unbelievable quarterback that is a rocket for an arm, freakishly athletic, can do everything. And then in the middle of his, when he's just about to get handed the keys to the car, you get rid of him and bring in Napier, and they fucking stink, and he plays like shit. And then he immediately goes to the pros, and he's playing better in the pros than he is in college. It just now I'm getting really deep college football, but that was just shocking me.
Look at Dable.
Someone needs to hire Dan Mullen.
Dable on this list. He's behind Saleh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think most of America would say Brian Dable's not a good coach yet. They'd say maybe he could be, but I think most of America would
That's
agree
fine.
that he's not a good coach.
I think it'd be crazy to say he's like a bad. Also, Antonio.
He's not a bad coach at all, and I think
Todd
Dable's
Bowles.
better than Saleh.
Antonio Pierce being the worst coach is just But also,
why?
What is the information
Why
based
is Antonio
off of?
Pierce the last?
It's based off Warren Sharp. He has smart. He's smart.
He has
No,
smart.
he does.
He does have smart.
research
He
and all
has
that,
good,
but
he has good brain in football.
He has smart.
People say it.
He does do he does have a lot of good research and all
I
that.
thought Pierce actually last year in a pretty difficult situation made chicken salad, shit.
I wanted to say that, Clemmer. Yesterday, Ken Jack was like, he only played 4 games. He coached like more than half the year. I wanted to call that back later in the episode.
Is that what he said? I thought he said he came in the 4 games.
Would he coach 6 maybe?
He coached, like,
No, I think
10
more than
games.
that.
Or 7?
10.
I think he went like
9 or 10.
4 and 3 or something like that.
5 and 4. He went,
so,
McDaniels was 3 and 5. He goes 5 and 4 with a team that could have quit, and they have him last in that list. That's crazy. I'm not saying Antonio Pierce is Vince Lombardi. I'm just saying
Sounds like it.
I'm just saying he should be higher than that. That's not fair. And to put him below the guys that haven't even started yet, I think is kind of bullshit.
Especially some of the guys at the bottom,
Weird.
like Canales has never been head coach before. Mayo's never been head coach.
I think you have to
McDonald, I don't think has been head coach before.
The last like 4 coaches, like 29 to 32, it's just based off bullshit.
I
Maybe
guess Pierce, we have a resume though. I don't know. It is the Dable thing though. If I'm a Giants fan, especially you guys are all like, Meek Phil, he's great, he's this, he's that. It's not a great look, Phil.
Yeah, but also Warren Sharp, he don't play the games.
That's true. He doesn't play the
The
game.
games
These are
are-
the coaches.
The games are played on the field, not the spreadsheet.
Oh wow, Phil. Wow, some tough talk. All right.
I'm gonna hold on to that quote. Jack, clip that.
Yeah, because tomorrow he's gonna say something that's gonna be directly from the spreadsheet.
He's gonna legitimately tweet out the biggest nerd shit today about like the Mets.
And then he'll be like, okay. That's what he'll say when you.
I just don't know why we're debating if a coach that won 10 games with Daniel Jones and a playoff game with him, 3 games with Tommy DeVito, we're debating if he's a good coach.
Well, that last sheet said he wasn't a good coach, Phil. So I don't know what.
I just
it's
don't.
not even me. It's
Cool,
like,
it's a sheet.
well, no, but I think a lot of people. Feel
And things can change.
yes, he could do worse this year potentially. Yeah, your quarterback is Daniel Jones again, right?
Yeah.
How's that going to go?
So Daniel Jones is going to get another coach fired?
I think so.
Ev told me that wasn't going to happen, so.
No, maybe they'll keep him. They might like Dable. I don't know, but I don't. The Giants not going to be good this year.
I don't think Dable's going to get fired.
He might not.
That I don't think. But I do think he's going to coach considering what he's done with.
I think he's been a pretty fine. I think he's been fine.
I mean, his college coaching career is pretty good, too. His NFL offensive coordinator for Josh Allen, pretty good. But apparently, he's not a good coach, according to Chris Clemmer.
I would say, and well, not just me, Warren Sharp as well, Phil.
Yeah.
I would say he's not a good coach. Not a good coach yet. He's only been there 2 years.
He won a playoff game with Daniel Jones.
But you can only have so many good coaches, Phil.
So Daniel Jones gets all the credit for winning a playoff game. We had to suck his dick.
No, Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback.
I agree with you. Thank you. That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear.
I know you're a Knicks fan, and you're blind to this. Just because like one playoff win or one playoff thing doesn't mean you're automatically good.
Thank you. That's all I have to hear.
That's all you have to hear?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Daniel Jones not a good quarterback, Phil.
Well, enough. Daniel Jones confirmed.
By the way, I think the Patriots odds went up.
Like in terms of like their. Oh, gotcha. Better chance. They have a better chance to win.
I was curious what the Giants were. So this is.
What do we got on the Giants before we get picks?
Oh boy, that's not good.
All right, the Patriots got a little.
What is this? Is this to win the Super Bowl?
Odds to win the Super Bowl.
To win the Super Bowl?
Odds 150 to 1.
The Panthers and the Broncos.
The Broncos crazy that the Panthers are 250 and the Broncos are 300.
But if you look up worst record, the Patriots are odds on favorite to win the. Yeah. It's funny how Super
I think
Bowl
we did
odds
this
are
already, but I do know that the Patriots last week did have the worst odds. So that preseason game, Clemmer, you know what that tells you?
Vegas likes them.
Things are getting spicy. They like what they saw.
Vegas likes what they see. All right, we'll
Patriots on the rise.
It would be. I was thinking about the tattoo the other day. It would be a fucking shame if they won the 6th game against the Jets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man,
I know.
That could all of a sudden become a big one for
You're
the
wild,
show.
yeah.
Huge one.
And then Clemmer, I know exactly what he's gonna say. Oh great, now you have the fucking 10th pick in the draft and not the 1st.
Yeah, I probably would say that. Yeah, I would. Yeah, because it would be bad because Patriots are very terrible and they need as many good picks as they can get.
I know, Super Bowl or bust, baby. Let's go Jets.
Super bus.
So, yeah, well, sure. Yeah,
JTS.
that's how it is when your team's in contention. You know that your team's been in contention many times.
Oh,
not
it's the
this year
best.
though.
It's the best.
Not this year.
No, it's the best.
It was the best.
No,
No, it isn't. No, it's past tense for you.
No, it is the best.
Yeah.
Because the Celtics in contention. I know what it's like to have.
Oh,
teams
now
in contention.
we're jumping. Sport
Celtics.
No, I'm just saying. I
No,
know
the
it's like
Celtics. I think won a champion. Did the Celtics win? I forget.
Yeah, they won.
That's right. They won. That's right. NBA champions.
All right, picks. Fuck the Celtics. I'm taking over 8.5 in St. Louis and Cincinnati game, and I'm taking the Twins money line, and I'm taking the Giants money line.
Pick of the day: Nestor Cortez does not get a win. It's -120. He hasn't thrown 5 innings. He's only thrown 5 innings once in the last 5 starts. He has a 9 ERA his last 5 starts. Andrew Vaughn, this is an interesting one. Over 1.5 total bases. He's on a 7-game hitting streak. He's batting .417 in this 7-game hit streak. I don't know. Nestor Cortez kind of stinks. Just need total bases 1.5. He's been hitting pretty well. And then Royals plus 114. The Twins are starting a rookie named Zebby Matthews, and his double-A numbers are really good. His triple-A numbers are not. It's his first start. Seth Lugo's going for the Royals. I don't know. It's plus money. Go with the Royals, plus 114 money on.
All right, we're against each other on that. We'll see the findings of that tomorrow. Shout out everyone listening. Like the stream. God bless. Thank you. We will see you tomorrow. That is Pick Central.